stop because sometimes it is just perfect the way it is, even though it may not be exactly like you have in your mind, but it is perfect to that person that's receiving it.
Life that I'm living. Sit back, chill, and start a multi-business with the focus. Making millions is the stuff that dreams are made of. And no later, stop the mission of having a visit, taking care. Hello, everyone. I want to thank you for joining us for another episode of Let's Talk Business. Today, I have the wonderful guest with me, Miss Lisa Comer, who's a local business owner here in the South Bend, Mishawaka area. And today we're going to talk a little bit about her background and her journey particularly. How you doing, Lisa?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, Marvell.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Thank you for taking the time out to join me today so we can talk a little bit about your journey.
Alrighty.
All right, so to begin with, are you originally from South Bend? What's your background?
No, originally I'm from Chicago.
Okay.
Look, and sometimes that surprises people. It's kind of like Chicago to Michigan and then Michigan to Indiana. So it's kind of like, one state at a time.
Okay, gotcha. So being raised in Chicago area, was that where you first had the mentorship or the inspiration to want to be a business owner in your particular industry?
No. To be a business owner really came probably just about 5 years ago. And so it did not start in Chicago. It did not even start in Michigan. It started in Indiana. And how it all started was in 2020 when COVID was going on, my husband passed from complications from COVID and being diabetic altogether. So that was in the month of August. So my daughter, my oldest daughter, Robin and I were talking, and we had talked about like starting a business and baking, because that was where that was our kind of like sweet spot, our comfort zone. So from that, we decided to go ahead and start in the month of October. Well, I also have a daughter, Kelly, that lives in Indianapolis. And so she handles Indianapolis orders for Sisters Creations and Treats. And then Robin and I handle South Bend, Mishawaka, Elkhart. But when we have larger orders, like if Kelly would have a larger order in Indy, then Robin and I would travel there. If Robin and I have a larger order here, then Kelly comes here. So we tag team and help each other out, or we travel whichever way, depending on the size of the order or the event, because sometimes it can be like a wedding, a birthday, or just whatever. So it just kind of depends on the event. But how we got here really was after Ray had passed, we decided that it would be a really good way to actually, I want to say, incorporate like what we knew and what we were comfortable with in a way to work through a really hard time in our lives. So I also have a son. Ray and I have a son also, and that's Derek, but he's not part of the bakery. He's not a baker at all. So, he cooks his food and he does his thing, but he's not part of the Sisters Creations and Treats. But he still gives us support if we need it. We just have to call him up if we need like extra help transporting or, just whatever. But from starting the bakery, we decided to just actually go with it as a business. I know sometimes some things start out as a hobby, but Robin had already baked and sold goods where she used to work at, and Kelly used to work for a chef in Indy. So both of them had that background in addition to like what I had gave them as being mom and baking when they were all little. Nice. So it was like, recipes that we used from like my mother, my grandmother. We scout out different recipes, we tweak recipes, and we just make it so good. And the thing about it is, it's amazing how from actually starting this journey, how each of the girls have kind of just blossomed into their own specialties. Like Robin is amazing at tweaking recipes, like in substitutions or in like in knowing just how to add a little bit of something else. Well, in that, I think that's experimentation, which is really awesome because oftentimes we come out with some really good outcomes, which is amazing. And even like myself, it's like when we have a recipe, I also can tweak it to try different like flavors or different combinations of flavors, or even in like decorating, it's all a journey in art, to be truthful. And Kelly, her specialty, I mean, she bakes also, but she is such an amazing decorator. I mean, she is real meticulous in how she wants something to look. And I think in baking, that's the hardest thing, is knowing when to stop, because you can have in your mind how you want a cake or a item to look, but sometimes it doesn't quite get to where you have in your mind, and then sometimes it exceeds that. But sometimes you can try so hard to just keep trying to get it right where you want it that you have to say stop, you know, because no one knows what's in your mind but you. So it looked perfect to that person that you're giving it to, but you know how we all are so critical of our own selves. So we can be more critical of ourselves and say, yeah, but I want to just, you know, there's one more like additional detail, or, you know, or maybe just have it look just a little bit different, or have that color, you know, maybe just a shade darker. So that's the hardest part with baking, is just to like stop, because sometimes it is just perfect the way it is, even though it may not be exactly like you have in your mind, but it is perfect to that person that's receiving it. But there's one thing that you always have to remember with baking: you eat with your eyes first. After that, you gotta back it up with flavor. So, and that's our other, you know, like I said, like the flavor combination, that's our other like strong suit, because we have come up with some, oh my goodness, some ooh la la flavors, that's for sure.
Gotcha. Well, you know, I thank you for giving us those details on how it all began for you, as well as your daughters, who also are sharing a like-mindedness of this endeavor. So I guess the question I would like to ask you in connection with that, you know, you mentioned Chicago, Michigan, Indiana. This is where you all came together with that collaborative effort and mindset. Were you afraid in the beginning of getting very much involved in the business aspect of it? Because there's the baking side of it, which is fun and creative, but then you got the other side that is numbers and accounts. No. So was there any fear behind that?
No, because I'm the business side of it. Even though I do bake also with the girls, or even if I may have orders myself that I, you know, actually will bake, but I'm the business side. So I'm the one that has the credentialing, like for Safe Serve. That one, actually setting up the business accounts. Well, all three of us are on the accounts, but setting up the business aspect, keeping track like spreadsheets, you know, of orders and payments and what's owed. We even have a program that we work through called Bakesy, which in that program you can actually put in the client's information, the total price of that, you know, that item, and actually Bakesy will break it down, and it will send out an invoice to the client. It will give like what the deposit is, what's remaining, because it's like we have like a certain percentage that we require as a deposit. So that part wasn't scary, because we knew we had to make it like a legal business. You know you have to go through, you have to register with the state, you have to have your account separate from your personal account, you have to have your credentialing to where you're serving and working with the public, so you got to have that Safe Serve certification. You got to have all of the aspects of a legal business in place before actually, you know, giving that item or selling to the public. So that part wasn't scary. Sometimes I think, well, no, I know we're still learning, because even like with our website, you know how like you can have it set to look a certain way, but to continually update, because you don't want it to get stagnant. And sometimes those are the parts that I think I would say we lack in, is just in knowing when to update, like how often to get like a new fresh look. And that's something really we're working presently on now, is just updating our website, just to give it like, just to tweak it and give it some freshness, because it's been the same ever since we started, and we started in 2020. So it's been the same for 5 years now, even though we've added like, and we've taken off maybe like some items, and we've added some other things. And you know, and that was some a learning aspect also, is because when we first started out, you start out thinking really broad, but then you find out you can't be that broad. You're gonna have to scale it in, kind of reel it in and just kind of sit and just decide on certain aspects of the bakery world that you want to focus on, because, not necessarily quantity, but quality in what we do. So we started out with like offering so many different things, and we're like, oh my gosh, no, we gotta reel it in. So right now it's like our specialty would be cake, cupcakes, cookies, anything pretty much, so chocolate. And we kind of stay in that venue right there, kind of like that genre of food, and that's where we can excel in. So instead of trying to be like, the doer of all things, be the doer of just certain things, but do them just like with excellence.
Right.
So
I love that. I love that. I love that. So that helps you not to become too massive too quick. You get to you're scaling, but you don't have to scale out that wide too quick, too fast. And that's what I was just thinking about, because I was hearing you talking about the location areas and how you all are taking in these orders or order intakes. And so you sound like your company services, of course, South Bend, this region of the area, but also down in Indianapolis and other. So your service is not like a food truck or a DoorDash type thing, but you all have a service where you actually do delivery. Is that what I'm hearing?
yes, we are an online baker. We're not like a brick and mortar. We're online, so we do deliveries if that is what the client would like. But then we also have where they come and pick up. So it just kind of depends, if it's easier for them to come and pick up or if it's easier for us to deliver. But then we also kind of do blitzes, like close to Valentine's Day. Last year, I think it was, Kelly had did a blitz of certain like packages. And so she has a really big social net because of her different employments that she's had. So she did a Valentine blitz, and there was probably like 12, 13, maybe 14 orders of certain packages that she actually did in Indianapolis. Around Christmas time, we do like hot chocolate bomb, like blitz, where we'll put it out, that we're going to be offering hot chocolate bombs, and so if you want to place an order, this is the time to do it. And those are like awesome because it's like a chocolate, and it's you have seen probably chocolate bombs that are smaller, like golf ball size,
balls, yeah.
But ours are bigger, as like a tennis ball pretty much. So, and they're decorated and they're chocolate, but on the inside there's like this combination of treats. So when you put it in your cup and you pour like hot milk over it, it just dissolves and makes this luscious, like really decadent hot chocolate. And usually because of the size of our chocolate bombs, usually one will go for 2 people, maybe even 3, depending on how you want to divide it up and who you want to share it with. So it's different things that we offer throughout the year, like sometimes associated with the holidays, and those we can deliver or they can come pick up. Presentation is so important on everything, and I say that kind of leading into when we have events like weddings or birthdays, because we actually do set up. So we just don't just bake and just take and deliver. We actually present, and when we present, we actually go with that theme, whether it's a color, an event, just whatever. We've did like the City of South Bend Christmas party. We have different weddings, and we actually make our presentation based on the event.
Okay, sounds good. So that pretty much almost definitely answers the question I was going to ask, because I get where you're coming from as far as the holidays, but outside of those holidays, you all really focus and cater to the events, whatever they may be, wedding anniversaries or the
Birthdays.
wedding themselves, or something that might even be made up. That let's say there's a company and they want to have a function of some sort, but they want to include your services. You can cater to that particular business, make adjustments. Okay, so it's not rigid to that, but it's part of the market, so I get it. Okay, good stuff. So now it sounds like you're the one that takes care of the back office, the administration aspect, and you got somebody helping you with your web design, right? Or you're working on the web design
We
or
don't ha-
maintenance of that, so to speak?
We don't have anyone helping us so far. So,
Oh, okay.
you know, and that we've looked into different, we've talked to different individuals, but web design is really expensive.
Can be.
And so right now we're like pretty much so working through it ourselves, but we're pretty creative. So I think we're resourceful enough to like tweak it and make it better. But, you know, having a person actually like help with that would be nice, because they would have ideas of things that probably we wouldn't think of, or maybe how you can embed different, I don't know if links is the right word, but different services that if you click on, you know, an icon or word or just whatever, and it would, you know, kind of like trump you or take you over to another aspect
Yeah.
of the web itself.
Yeah.
You know. So that is what we're working on right now, and I know I have different things in my mind, like different like online services that we could utilize to help just tweak it and shear it up and give it a fresh new do.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll make sure I connect you with some people that might can help you with that.
Okay.
Because I know if that's something you need, I want to be a resource guy for you guys.
Well, thank
So,
you.
connect you with the people that can help you with that. Okay. So now that we've talked a little bit about that, let me ask you, did you have anybody who was already in the world of business that kind of helped mentor you or guide you? Or was it just something that you kind of just fell into yourself? Because as you mentioned, you started the LLC, you did the registration. Did somebody show you how to do that, or you just came across the way to do it? How did that work for you?
We started out with the South Bend Small Business Association.
Okay.
So sbin.gov or southbendbiz.gov,
Okay.
I think it is. So we started out with them, and that's actually how we structured, was going through their website. And it is a really good website, because it really does take you step by step in what to do and how to set up and get it going. So that was our initial. But then after that, I also actually did take some entrepreneur classes through Ivy Tech, through Anj Anasario.
Okay.
And those classes were awesome and amazing, you know, because in those classes, you actually have a group of people who are pretty much so the same mindset, same boat, you know, striving for the same thing, opening up a business, starting it, tweaking it, making it better. So we were all in that same pool, I guess you could say, of small business owners, either want to be, starting to be, or making what you have better. And so from those courses, it was a real eye-opener, because you know, you think you know, but sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And then once you find it out, then you can actually make what you're doing even better, more efficient, you know, like maybe reach a larger audience, think of things that, you know, other people can bring to the table, you know, like a group of minds is just amazing, because they can see outside of what you're seeing, because you know you're so attached to it, so you're the passionate part of it. But if another person can be objective and actually give their opinion of maybe things you never even thought about.
Yeah, and that's good. I'm glad that you were able to take advantage of that entrepreneurship program.
Yeah.
With Anj.
It was really good.
Yeah. So now, let's talk a little bit about the back office a little bit. So I know you mentioned that you take care of all your administrations and stuff like that. Is there a payroll in this administration for the family?
You know, I tell you, it's funny that you mentioned that one, because it's, like I said, we've been doing this for 5 years now. But the one thing about it is, all three of us are still working full time. So at this point, we're incorporating our baking and everything into like our daily lives. So sometimes we might have to like maybe take a personal day, or, you know, just whatever, if we have a really big order. Because if we have a big order, of course, we start on Thursdays, we bake on Thursdays, we bake on Friday, and we might finish up Saturday morning, depending on the event, the time, and everything else. So your question was, have we paid ourselves at this point? And at this point, we haven't paid ourselves like consistently. Maybe it's been like, I would say maybe 2 or 3 times where we've given ourselves a little bit of that surplus. But for the most part, everything that we've done goes right back into the business. And I'm hopeful that probably when I retire, I will be able to just shear up the South Bend, Elkhart, Mishawaka, orders, so that we can actually consistently, and we're pretty consistent now with orders, but to increase the bakery visibility, awareness, the different venues that we can get into or events that we can connect with. So it would be more consistent baking throughout the whole week instead of just pretty much so kind of geared toward the weekends.
Gotcha. Understood. So then that leads me to a question in reference to the future. You mentioned about taking advantage of venues. Because, on this show, we've talked a lot about business plans throughout many of our episodes, and a lot of our business owners like yourself, they talk about how that business plan continues to develop. As one of our guests said, it's a living document, even because it continues to grow and adjust along with the circumstances of the company. So I guess my question for you and your family would be, do you foresee a storefront for your company, in the future? And because, is that the eventuality? You're going to probably have maybe both the online space and eventually a store line?
And you said it right there. We always want to keep the online because that's a really good market, because it does reach a lot of different people through like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then our website also. But a brick and mortar would be nice as an eventuality. But at this point, I keep kind of holding back from that because a brick and mortar, of course, is, expensive. I mean, of course, we have insurance for our business, of course, right now, but then that would include the rent unless it's bought straight out. I mean, there's insurance with that, there's utilities, there's, all of those additional costs and overhead that right now we don't really have to deal with or have to worry about meeting that monthly note.
Gotcha.
So eventually, yes, a brick and mortar would be nice, but I cannot see that. I don't see that we would ever totally give up the online aspect of it, even with the brick and mortar, because that would even bring in, potential sales that could be picked up from that brick and mortar or delivered from the brick and mortar. So one day, just like at this point, I can't even say when that one day is.
Gotcha.
But sometimes though, it's just, I don't ever want to be like, there's a song that I know that I sing a lot, and in the song there's a verse that says, don't be afraid to jump because you just might fly. So I don't want to be afraid to jump because I just might fly. I mean, all three of us, we just might fly. But still, you want to approach that with a cautiousness to make sure that when you do jump, even though you jump and you just might fly, so just trust God in all of this, which we have the whole way, and then just see where it leads us to a brick and mortar one day.
Yeah, and I respect that because it's all goes back to where you see the vision for your company, right? For something like that has something tangible people can actually purchase, they can feel, they can touch, they can smell, they can taste. It's a food product. It just seems. I hope that does happen for you all in the future.
Well, thank you.
Hopefully you can get something set up that way, because then that also show that numbers are increasing. Like you said, the market, real estate, people are fearful in the times we're living in kind of right now, even with small businesses being kind of affected by some things that's happening in this government that we're in. But people are still striving, people are still focusing on trying to build their entities up, the support that you have with your daughters. You said one is in Indy and one is here. So 2 of you are here, they're in Indy. And just you all are just working it out amongst the family. Has there ever been any, I guess you could say, ideas of it becoming a full-time thing for anybody?
Yes, me. It would be a full time for me. And once once I transition to that full time for me, it will be. I don't see right now unless it would be a brick and mortar where Robin and Kelly would have it totally full time. I mean, we do spend a lot of time in it as now, being online. But of course, they both have families, so it would have to, the business would have to be able to sustain,
Yes, sir.
Income at least to replace at least a percentage,
Right.
A good enough percentage of what they bring in right now from their full-time employment.
Right.
So that is a future thing. And and even when you talk about brick and mortar, it's funny because it's like the three of us have all talked, and we know exactly where we want a brick and mortar at. So I'm kind of jumping back a little bit,
No,
but
that's all right.
because you said about the vision. Well, I know where I want it, and it's like in a area of Jefferson that is down by Howard, down in that area.
Okay,
That's
okay.
such a cute little couple of blocks in there. So I know, we all know where we want it, but it just has to be right timing, and
Yeah.
all the pieces have to fall into place.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I just gotta tell you, Lisa, it's been a long time. We've talked a lot about you getting on this show. I'm glad we was able to pull that off today. Talk a little bit about what you're doing, how you're doing it, the support you're getting. It's very encouraging to see, black businesses and family businesses coming together, making the dream into a reality. So what I want you to do is look in that camera and just tell them how can they get in contact with you all for your services.
Well, you can contact us online. The name of the company is Sisters. The name of the business is Sisters Creations and Treats, and it's creations with a K. And that stands out because when you see how it's spelled, it's like SISTE capital RS, and then creations with a capital K. So Sisters Creations and Treats. And the reason those two letters are capital is because the R in Sisters is for Robin, and the K in Creations is for Kelly, and Treats. And I've had sometimes some people say, well, where are you, Lisa? Where are you in this? And I'm in there, believe you me. Maybe I'm in and Treats part, but I'm in there. So it's Sisters Creations and Treats. That is our website. You can also contact us on Instagram, or you can see pictures of our products. We're on Facebook. And I believe there's one other I'm missing. Instagram, Facebook, yes, and our website.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. It's been an honor to have you here, and we're looking forward to getting some treats from you, okay?
Oh, no problem.
All right. So as far as the rest of you all go, I want to thank you again for this opportunity to have you come and join us in the audience. And as always, we encourage you to continue to think like a boss, be a boss, and we'll see you in the next episode of Let's Talk Business. Y'all take care.